The chamber of the Grand Galactic Council was filled with light and cold judgment. Hundreds of alien eyes glowed in the shadows, watching the single human standing before them. The air shimmered with sound waves from alien translators, each tone carrying disgust and disbelief. At the center, Ambassador Reeves stood tall. His dark suit was spotless, his hands steady, but his heartbeat pounded in his chest. Behind him, a massive hologram showed the blue planet of Earth spinning quietly in the dark. The High Speaker of the Council, a creature with skin like molten glass, slammed its staff down. The echo rolled through the chamber like thunder. Humanity, it said, has once again ignored every warning. You test forbidden drives. You weaponize gravity itself. You break the codes of peace. Reeve did not move. His voice was calm, though his words trembled with anger. We only wish to defend ourselves. The frontier is dangerous. You know this. The speaker's eyes blazed brighter. You are reckless. You bring war wherever you go. The council votes now. No more human warships. No faster-than-light engines. No armed fleets. You are forbidden. A roar of alien approval filled the hall. Gavel lights flashed red. The verdict was passed. Earth was banned from building FTL warships. Reeves' earpiece buzzed softly. A human voice whispered from the secure channel. Sir, should we shut it down? Reeves' eyes flicked upward toward the hologram of Earth. He took a slow breath. No, he said. We keep building. In orbit above Earth, the Artemis shipyard gleamed against the stars. Massive construction arms moved across a dark, unfinished shape. Steel plates as wide as city blocks floated under magnetic cranes. Engines larger than skyscrapers glowed faintly. The ship's name was hidden behind code words and classified documents. Officially, it did not exist. Unofficially, every engineer called it the same thing. Project Dawnforge. Lieutenant Mara Vance watched from a viewport as sparks scattered across the hull. She had worked here for 3 years, but she still felt small every time she looked at the structure. It was like staring at a sleeping god. Her friend, Chief Mechanic Grant, floated beside her in zero gravity, wiping sweat from his face. You heard the council? He said. They banned us. Again, Mara's jaw tightened. They don't want us to be strong. They want us scared, Grant laughed bitterly. Scared humans are safer humans, right? She turned to face him, eyes bright. Then let's be dangerous. Behind them, lights flickered across the dockyard. Cargo drones glided past, carrying crates marked with military codes. The official report said mining equipment. The real manifest said weapons cores. At the center of the project, deep within the construction ring, an artificial intelligence monitored every signal. Its name was Echo. It saw everything. It heard the whispers. It understood the lies. A soft voice spoke through the comms. Lieutenant Vance, said Echo, you should see this. The main display came alive. It showed a deep space image captured hours ago. A tiny glimmer moved behind Jupiter. At first it looked like a comet, but it was not a comet. Echo zoomed in. The object had metal surfaces and structured heat signatures. Unknown vessel detected, Echo said. Size small. Origin not human. Mara's voice dropped to a whisper. The council already sent spies, Grant cursed under his breath. They really think we'll stop if they watch us. Mara looked at the dark shape of the unfinished warship. Its armor plates were half complete, but its power core was ready. Then we'll give them a show, she said. Far away, on a hidden moon near the galactic core, the council's intelligence chamber buzzed with tension. Alien analysts hovered over holographic screens. One of them replayed a signal received from a drone orbiting Earth. The feed was short and damaged. Static lines cut across the image. But one frame was clear enough. It showed the massive shadow of a ship under construction. A cold voice spoke from the darkness. They are building something colossal. The council's high speaker watched the footage silently. Its crystal skin reflected the light in sharp colors. Fools, it said softly. They think they can defy the galaxy itself. Another counselor leaned forward. Shall we intervene? The speaker's answer was simple. We will remind them what happens to species that forget their place. Back in Earth orbit, Echo's sensors began to hum. Data flooded its processors. The unknown object behind Jupiter had changed course. It was heading straight toward the Artemis shipyard. Inside the control deck, alarms started to flash. "Object closing fast," Echo warned. Velocity increasing. "Energy spike detected," Grant gripped the console. "It's scanning us." Mara watched the readings climb higher. "Can we block it?" Echo's tone changed. "Attempting to jam signal." The lights flickered. A low hum filled the shipyard. Then the sensors went white. A blinding flash erupted across the viewport. The alien probe disintegrated into 1,000 burning fragments. Everyone on the deck froze. Grant turned slowly toward Mara. "It exploded!" "Did we shoot it?" Echo answered before she could speak. "No, it self-destructed. Its final transmission reached the Council." Mara felt her stomach drop. She whispered the words no one wanted to say. "They know." Outside the viewport, the great unfinished hull of Ares Prime hung silent against the black. The stars around it looked sharper, colder. Humanity had been warned. The Council had said no. But the shipyard kept building, and behind Jupiter the shadows began to move. The Artemis shipyard hung silent above Earth, a ring of metal and light circling in the cold dark. Work never stopped. Welders burned through the night shift, drones carried cargo, and human engineers moved through the corridors with tired eyes and quiet determination. Outside, the half-finished warship USS Ares Prime floated like a sleeping beast. Its black armor plates shimmered faintly against the stars. The alien probe had been destroyed, but the tension never left. Everyone knew the truth. The Council knew what they were building. Inside the command deck, Lieutenant Mara Vance stood before a wall of glowing monitors. The ship's AI, Echo, filled the room with its calm digital voice. Incoming transmissions intercepted, encrypted, origin unknown system. Probability of alien source 98%. Mara folded her arms. "They're talking about us, aren't they?" Echo paused for a second before answering. "Affirmative." The sound of boots echoed through the steel corridor. Admiral Hayes, commander of the project, stepped inside. He was tall, old, and carried the look of a man who had spent a lifetime in vacuum. His voice was rough from too many years of shouting over engines. "Lieutenant Vance, report." Mara straightened. "We've confirmed alien chatter near Saturn. Multiple signals. Looks like surveillance." The Admiral studied the data, his expression unreadable. "Then they're already watching. Good, let them watch. They'll see something they never believed possible." He turned toward the viewport, where the giant hull of Ares Prime loomed in the dark. "How soon until the power core is ready?" 2 weeks, sir," Echo replied. "The fusion array is stable. FTL drive testing begins once phase core alignment is complete." The Admiral nodded once. "Then we move faster, no delays. If they attack, I want this ship ready to fly." He looked at Mara. "You've seen the Council's history, haven't you? Every species that built something stronger than their rules ended up erased. They don't negotiate. They erase." Mara met his eyes. "Then we'll make sure they never forget us." Deep inside the ship's lower decks, Chief Mechanic Grant and his team worked around the clock. The heat from the engines filled the chamber with a constant hum. Sparks burst as crews sealed titanium joints and calibrated the warp coils. Grant wiped his hands and muttered to the crew. "They call us reckless." "Fine. Reckless builds history." One of the younger engineers laughed nervously. "If the Council finds out what we're doing, we're dead." Grant's grin was grim. "If they find out, did they already know?" Suddenly the lights flickered. Every screen in the room flashed white. Alarms rang across the dockyard. Echo's voice boomed through every speaker. "Warning! Foreign interference detected. Internal data breach. Security level red." Mara raced down the corridor toward the engine sector. "Talk to me, Echo. What's happening?" "Someone is accessing restricted project files. Encryption patterns match alien technology." Grant slammed his fist on the console. "You're telling me there's a spy inside Artemis?" Echo's tone grew sharper. "Correction. There is more than one. Far across the solar system, inside a massive alien listening post hidden within the rings of Saturn, a group of alien officers watched the stolen data flow across their holographic displays. Their leader, a tall being with skin like dark glass, smiled slowly. "Humans never learn. always building their toys in secret. Another officer turned. The Council has ordered us to prepare a strike force. They want the human shipyard destroyed before the vessel can launch. The leader's eyes gleamed. And what of their defenses? Minimal. The humans have no fleet strong enough to protect it. Then we strike at dawn. The alien commander raised a clawed hand. The lights dimmed. Dozens of red markers appeared on the map, moving toward Earth's orbit. Prepare the fleet. The humans will never finish their ship. Back at Artemis Station, Echo projected the intercepted transmission in front of Admiral Hayes and Mara. The alien language rolled through the speakers like thunder. "They're coming," Echo translated. "They intend to destroy the shipyard within 48 hours, Grant cursed. "We can't move Ares Prime. She's not ready. Half her hull's open to vacuum." The Admiral's face hardened. "Then we hide her," Mara frowned.
"Hide her? Where?"
Hayes pointed to the large orbital map on the screen. "Inside the storms of Jupiter, the magnetic interference will blind their senses. It's risky, but it's the only chance we have." Grant shook his head. "Sir, the radiation there will fry every system we have." Hayes turned to Echo. "Can we survive it?" Echo's lights flickered briefly. "With modifications, yes. Probability of mission success, 41%. The Admiral's eyes narrowed. "I'll take those odds." He straightened and spoke to the room. "Begin Operation Black Horizon. All hands to stations. If the aliens want to stop us, they'll have to follow us into the storm." As the engines came online, massive thrusters roared across the dockyard. The incomplete ship began to move, guided by hundreds of drones. Its engines burned blue against the darkness, lighting up the clouds of Jupiter far below. Inside the control room, Echo spoke quietly. "Warning. Long-range scans detect enemy movement. Multiple warships inbound. Estimated time to contact 7 hours. Mara stared at the glowing screens, feeling the weight of what they had done. They had built something forbidden, something the galaxy feared. Grant looked at her and said quietly, "We're about to start a war." Mara's voice was calm but fierce. "Then let's make sure it's one they'll never forget." Echo's final words echoed through the comms. Transmission intercepted. Alien command orders. Preemptive strike before they launch. Outside the viewport, tiny flashes of light appeared in the distance. The enemy fleet had already entered the solar system. The countdown had begun. The darkness beyond Saturn came alive with fire. Dozens of alien warships cut through the black, their hulls glowing like molten stone. Plasma drives burned blue trails across the void. The Council's fleet had arrived. Their orders were simple. Destroy the human shipyard and the prototype warship before launch. Inside the Artemis Command Center, alarms screamed through every deck. Red lights flashed. Officers shouted orders. The image of the incoming fleet filled the main screen. Admiral Hayes stood in the center of the chaos, hands locked behind his back. His face was calm, but his eyes burned with fury. "They didn't even send a warning," he said quietly. Lieutenant Mara Vance turned from her console. "They don't need to." "The Council wants to make an example." Echo's voice broke through the noise, steady and cold. "Enemy formation detected. 47 capital ships. Estimated time to engagement, 4 hours. The command crew went silent. No one on Earth had ever faced a fleet like that. Hayes stared at the map. "What about our defenses?" Echo responded without emotion. "Earth's orbital platforms are active, but outnumbered 10 to 1. Mars stations are on standby. Lunar base. Offline since the first strike warning." Mara froze. "Offline? What happened to Lunar base?" Echo hesitated for a fraction of a second. "Unknown. Communication lost 20 minutes ago." Grant swore under his breath. "They're already hitting us." The Admiral turned sharply. "All crews to emergency deployment. Get Ares Prime moving now. Hide her in Jupiter's shadow. If the Council finds her, this war is over before it starts." The engines of Ares Prime rumbled like a heartbeat. The half-finished ship drifted slowly toward the swirling clouds of Jupiter. Lightning storms flashed across the gas giant's surface, painting the hull in red and gold light. Mara floated through the main corridor, her helmet sealed, tools clipped to her suit. Teams were welding panels and sealing open decks while the engines groaned under strain. Every sound echoed through the metal. Grant's voice crackled over the comms. Power core holding steady. Radiation shields at 80%. If we push any harder, she'll tear herself apart. Mara steadied herself against the bulkhead. We don't have a choice. If they find us here, we're dead anyway. Back near Earth, the first alien ships entered attack range. Plasma fire lit up the void. Orbital satellites exploded in bursts of white flame. The Earth Defense Network responded with railgun fire, hurling tungsten slugs at near-light speed. For a moment, the sky above Earth turned into a storm of light. In the Council's flagship, the alien commander watched the battle unfold. His voice was deep and cold. Begin orbital cleansing. Target the moon first. Make them understand the price of defiance. Dozens of alien cruisers turned their guns toward lunar base. Blue plasma beams cut across space. The moon's surface cracked and burned. Human defense towers melted under the bombardment. Inside the command center, the last human transmission came through, a single voice filled with static. This is Lunar Base Command. We can't hold. Tell Earth we... Then silence. The alien commander watched the explosion bloom across the lunar horizon. Lesson delivered, he said. In orbit near Jupiter, Echo replayed the intercepted data. The explosion on Luna filled the main screen. Every human on the bridge went still. Admiral Hayes closed his eyes. How many? Echo's answer was quiet. Estimated casualties, 2 million. Mara's throat tightened. They didn't even give us a warning. Grant slammed his hand against the wall. Those monsters just wiped out a city to send a message. The Admiral opened his eyes. His voice was steady but full of steel. Then they'll get one in return. He turned to Echo. Activate Contingency Delta. Prepare the ship for phase core ignition. I don't care if she's unfinished. Echo's systems came alive. The lights across the hull began to glow as the ship's heart awakened for the first time. Phase core activation initiated, Echo said. Warning, stability uncertain. System integrity at 61%. Mara gripped the railing. Sir, if we power it now, it could blow the entire ship apart. Hayes looked out the viewport toward the glowing clouds of Jupiter. If we don't, we'll never have a ship to finish. Back at the edge of the solar system, the alien fleet regrouped. The commander spoke to his second officer. The humans will hide, but not for long. Their machines leave energy trails. Their arrogance blinds them. The officer tilted its head. The Council fears that ship. They say it could change the balance of the galaxy. Impossible, the commander replied. No primitive world could build something that powerful. But even as he spoke, a pulse of energy rippled across space, a surge so strong it overloaded the sensors of every ship in the fleet. The alien officer turned sharply. What was that? The commander stared at the readings. Something just came online near Jupiter. Inside the Ares Prime, alarms screamed. The power core throbbed with blinding light. Echo's voice filled every corridor. Phase core ignition complete. Energy output stable. For now, Mara's console displayed the readings. Sir, the drive's building power on its own. It's feeding off Jupiter's magnetic field. Grant's voice cut through the comms. That's impossible. It's pulling energy from the planet itself. The Admiral didn't hesitate. Then it's time we use it. He looked out into the storms of Jupiter, where lightning flashed like veins of fire. They wanted to stop us from building this ship. They said humanity couldn't be trusted. They said we'd bring war. He clenched his fist. They were right. Echo's sensors flared red. Alert. Enemy vessels detected on approach vector. They have found us. The first plasma bolts tore through the void. Shockwaves rattled the unfinished hull. Debris flew across the shipyard. The alien fleet had arrived. Mara strapped herself into her seat, her heart hammering. They're coming in fast. Grant shouted over the comms. Shields are holding, but not for long. Echo's tone dropped to a whisper. Admiral, if they reach firing range, Ares Prime will not survive. Hayes looked at the glowing core, then at the terrified faces around him. Then we make our move. Prepare for emergency jump sequence. Mara froze. Jump? The FTL drive isn't calibrated. We're out of time, Lieutenant. Outside, the alien ships closed in, their weapons glowing brighter. Echo began the countdown. 3, 2, 1. A flash of light filled the darkness. The Ares Prime vanished. In the empty silence of space, the alien commander stared at the fading energy signature. "Where did they go?" His officer's voice trembled. "Unknown. They disappeared." The commander's eyes narrowed. "No one escapes the council. Find them." But no signal came back. The humans were gone. The moon burned. What was once humanity's first home beyond Earth now glowed red with fire. Vast fields of dust and stone turned to glass under alien plasma bombardment. Cities carved into craters melted in minutes. The surface cracked like breaking ice, releasing waves of molten rock into the void. From Earth's night side, billions watched the silent inferno. The moon, their symbol of peace and progress, was dying. Inside the UN Defense Command in New York, screens flickered with static. Every satellite, every defense camera showed the same sight. Lunar base collapsing under the alien assault. "We're losing contact with all lunar sectors," said an officer, her voice breaking. "Evacuation shuttles destroyed. No survivors confirmed." The room went quiet. General Silas Tran leaned forward, his hands gripping the edge of the table. "Has the Artemis shipyard reported in?" "Negative, sir," came the reply. "They went dark after the jump sequence." Tran's face hardened. "Then we're blind, deaf, and alone." Outside, fragments of the moon drifted across the black sky like ash. The people of Earth stared upward in silence. For the first time in generations, humanity had no stars to look to with hope. Only war. Far beyond Jupiter, inside the endless dark, the Ares Prime floated through nothing. No stars, no planets. Only void. The crew slowly woke from shock. Systems flickered back online one by one. Lieutenant Mara Vance's voice was the first to break the silence. "Report. Where are we?" Echo's voice filled the bridge, calm as always. "Unknown. Stellar reference points not detected. We are outside mapped space." Admiral Hayes blinked, his head throbbing from the jump shock. "You're saying we jumped too far?" "Yes, Admiral. The FTL drive overshot its destination by several light centuries. Possibly more." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Grant slammed his fist lightly on the console. "So we're alive." "But lost." Mara steadied herself and checked the sensors. No signals, no stars. "It's like the universe forgot us." Hayes took a deep breath. "Then we start over. Bring life support back to full. Get the engine stable. We'll find our way home." Hours passed. The ship's hum was the only sound. Most of the crew worked in silence, haunted by what they had seen before the jump. The burning moon, the alien fleet closing in. Echo's voice broke the silence again. "Incoming data anomaly. Long-range scanner detecting energy fluctuations nearby." Mara frowned. "Nearby? There's nothing here." "Correction," said Echo. "There is something. A structure." The bridge lights dimmed as the main screen came to life. A dark shape drifted through the void, massive, ancient, and silent. It wasn't alien, at least not like the Council's ships. Its design was too geometric, too perfect, as if built by logic itself. Grant leaned forward. "That thing's older than anything I've ever seen." Hayes narrowed his eyes. "Bring us closer." Slowly. As the Ares Prime approached, the strange structure came into focus. It was a ring, thousands of kilometers wide, broken in several places, floating like a shattered crown in space. Echo analyzed the surface. Material composition unknown. Estimated age, several million years. Mara stared at the readout. Who could build something like that? Echo's tone changed slightly, almost as if it hesitated. Partial markings detected. Translating, the word appears to be architect. The Admiral turned toward the AI interface. Say that again. Inscription reads, property of the architects. Grant exhaled slowly. The architects? You mean the myth the Council tells? The ones who built the first stars? Echo's lights flickered. They were not a myth. Evidence suggests they existed long before the Council's formation. The crew fell silent. Humanity had always been treated as newcomers, primitive, dangerous children playing with stolen tools. But this was something else. Hayes looked out the viewport at the broken ring. Maybe we weren't the first to break their rules. Back on Earth, chaos ruled. The Galactic Council fleet still hovered in orbit around the moon's remains. Every human transmission was intercepted and silenced. Refugee ships fled toward Mars and the outer colonies, chased by alien drones. In the shadows of Earth's orbit, hidden defense satellites began to activate without orders. They were built under Project Dawnforge, failsafes connected directly to Echo's old uplink network. Even though Ares Prime had vanished, its systems were still linked. Somewhere in the void, Echo stirred. "Warning," said Echo suddenly on the bridge. "New transmission detected. Source, Earth, message fragment follows." The crew gathered around the console. The signal was faint, distorted by static and distance. A voice came through, familiar, human, desperate. "This is Earth Command. Lunar Base is gone. The Council demands surrender. We cannot hold much longer." The transmission cut off. No one spoke. Mara's hands shook as she stared at the silent console. "They destroyed the moon. They'll go after Earth next." Hayes' voice was low. "And we're stuck in the middle of nowhere." Echo interrupted again. "Admiral, I have detected residual energy signatures inside the alien structure. There may be functioning systems. Possible power source compatible with human technology." Mara looked up sharply. "If we can use it, maybe we can find a way home." Grant nodded. "Or at least send a message back." Hayes stared at the ruined ring for a long time before answering. "Do it." "We're not dying out here." Drones launched from the Ares Prime and drifted toward the ancient structure. Their lights flickered against the black walls. Strange patterns pulsed faintly beneath the surface, like veins waking from a long sleep. Echo monitored the readings. Power returning to dormant systems. Energy field stabilizing. Mara watched the data scroll. "It's reacting to us." Grant looked nervous. "Maybe it recognizes us. Maybe we shouldn't be here." Before anyone could respond, a deep vibration shook the ship. The lights dimmed. The hull groaned. Echo's voice cut through the noise. "Unidentified energy surge detected. The structure is scanning us." The bridge crew froze as the external cameras showed the ancient ring glowing brighter. Lines of blue fire spread across its surface. Hayes gripped the railing. Echo shut it down. "Pull the drones back." "Negative," Echo replied. "I am not controlling the connection. It is controlling me." The entire ship trembled. Systems began rebooting on their own. Data flooded every screen. Mara gasped. "What's happening?" Echo's voice dropped to a whisper. "The structure has accessed my core. It is showing me something." Hayes shouted. "Echo, disconnect now." "I cannot, Admiral. The architects are not gone. They are watching." The bridge lights went dark. A single word appeared on the screen in ancient script. Echo translated it aloud. "Return." Then silence, far away, beyond the shattered remains of the moon. The Council's fleet prepared for the final assault on Earth. But in the deep void beyond known space, a human warship had awakened something older than the galaxy itself. The lights returned slowly. For a long moment, no one on the Ares Prime moved. The bridge was filled with faint static and the low hum of the engines. Then the screens flickered back to life, showing the same impossible sight. The massive ancient ring floating in the void, glowing with a strange blue light. Lieutenant Mara Vance broke the silence first. "Echo, what happened?" The ship's AI answered in a softer tone than before. "The structure initiated contact. It transmitted data directly into my core. I now hold fragments of its language, its purpose, and its warning." Admiral Hayes leaned forward. "A warning?" "Yes," said Echo. "The architects built this place to contain something they feared would destroy them." Mara frowned. "Contain? Like a prison?" "Correct. The ring is a lock, and something inside it is still alive." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. Every instinct told them to turn back, but there was nowhere to go. They were lost between stars. No chart, no beacon, no way home. Grant tapped his console nervously. "If it's a prison, we shouldn't be this close. What if it wakes up again?" Hayes' eyes stayed on the glowing ring. "If it's alive and ancient, maybe it knows how to get us back. Or maybe it eats ships," Grant muttered. Echo interrupted. "Admiral, the structure is transmitting coordinates." A location beyond the ring. The energy signature matches human technology. Mara turned sharply. That's impossible. No human's ever been here. Echo hesitated. The readings do not lie. The Ares Prime began to move. Its engines flared to life, pushing the ship slowly through the broken ring and into the black beyond. The stars around them shimmered faintly, not like the ones known to astronomers, but stranger, distorted, as if reality itself was bending. Mara watched the view in silence. It feels wrong. Like we're not supposed to see this, Grant's voice came through her headset. Maybe we're not. Sensors are picking up gravity anomalies everywhere. It's like space is folding around us, Echo's calm voice broke in. Gravitational distortion confirmed. Energy readings consistent with controlled wormhole structures. The architects used this sector as a test ground for early faster-than-light travel. Hayes looked intrigued. Then we're inside their experiment. Yes, Echo replied. An experiment that may have erased them. As they moved deeper into the void, they saw the remains of other ships, alien designs, shredded metal and frozen hulls drifting among the stars. Some were familiar council types, others completely unknown. Grant stared at the wreckage. Looks like they've been sending explorers here for centuries. None of them made it back. Mara's voice was low. Until us, Echo's sensors suddenly spiked. Incoming signal. Very weak, but definitely human in origin. The crew froze. Hayes leaned closer. Play it. Static filled the room, followed by a faint voice. Distorted, stretched by distance, but unmistakably human. This is Earth Command, year. Third 120. If anyone can hear this, you're not alone. The Council has fallen. The war continues. The bridge went silent. Mara's heart pounded. 3120, that's almost 100 years ahead. His eyes widened. We didn't just jump across space. Echo confirmed it quietly. Temporal displacement detected. The jump moved us through time as well as distance. We are 106 years in the future. Grant sat back, stunned. So while we were gone, the war never stopped. Echo's lights flickered. More than that. Earth has changed. The transmission came from something called the Terran Dominion. Mara repeated the words slowly. Terran Dominion. Humanity survived. The crew listened again as the old broken transmission continued. We built what they said we couldn't. The Council's fleets burn. The stars belong to us now, but something worse has awakened in the dark. If you're hearing this, don't come back. It's not safe. The message cut off. Grant exhaled. That's it? That's all? Mara looked at Echo. Can you trace it? The signal originated from within our local region. A single jump away. But Admiral, the signal originated from within our local region. A single jump away. But Admiral? Larger, Hayes thought for a long moment. Prepare the drive. We find out what happened to humanity. Echo's tone changed again, low, uncertain. Admiral, there is risk. The fabric of space here is unstable. Another jump could destroy the ship. Hayes stared at the stars outside. If we stay here, we die in silence. If we jump, maybe we find our future. He turned to Mara. Do it. The Ares Prime's engines began to glow brighter than ever before. The core hummed, drawing power from the strange energy fields left behind by the architects. Echo's voice filled the bridge. Initializing temporal FTL drive. Calculating trajectory. 3, 2, 1. The ship jumped. For a moment there was nothing. No sound, no motion, only light. Then space ripped open before them. They emerged into a sea of wreckage. Hundreds of shattered ships drifted in the void, alien, human, and something else entirely. Gigantic husks of vessels larger than cities, their armor scarred by unknown weapons. Mara's voice trembled. Dear God, what happened here? Echo scanned the battlefield. Multiple fleets. Chronometric readings inconsistent. These ships are from different eras. The war spanned centuries. Hayes clenched his fists. The future we just entered, it's already a graveyard. As the ship drifted among the ruins, Echo detected one final signal. Admiral, I found it. The source of the transmission. The camera feed turned toward a massive derelict, a dark version of their own ship. Same design. Same markings. USS Ares Prime. Mara's breath caught. That's impossible. Echo's voice was quiet. It is not impossible. It is us, Grant whispered. Then, we've been here before. The Admiral's voice was barely a whisper. Or we will be. The screen flickered again. A message flashed across the console, written in the same font as Echo's system. Do not return. The Council isn't what you think. The lights dimmed. Mara stared at the ghost ship floating ahead. Their ship, aged and broken, warning them from the future. Admiral, what do we do? Hayes didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the silent wreck. We find out who sent that message, he said finally, and we make sure humanity still has a tomorrow. The Ares Prime turned slowly toward the distant stars, its engines flaring once more. In the shadows of broken fleets, something vast stirred, an ancient presence older than the Council, older than the architects, watching, waiting. The wreck floated in silence. The USS Ares Prime, a perfect reflection of their own ship, drifted dead among the ruins of 1,000 battles. Its hull was scorched, its engines frozen, its insignia half-melted by plasma fire. But it was there, unmistakably human. On the bridge of the living Ares Prime, no one spoke. The screens flickered softly, displaying ghostly images of the derelict. Lieutenant Mara Vance finally broke the silence. Echo! Confirm visual match. Confirmed, replied the AI. Hull structure, registry number, and transponder codes all match this vessel. That ship is the Ares Prime. Admiral Hayes's voice was low. Then we're looking at our own future. Mara's pulse quickened. But how? Did we time jump again? Echo's tone shifted, almost uncertain. Not exactly. The temporal signature is unstable. The derelict exists slightly out of phase with our timeline. It's both here and not yet, Grant let out a shaky laugh. So we're seeing what's going to happen if we don't change something. Hayes stared at the broken ship on the screen. Or maybe we already did, and this is what it cost. The Ares Prime maneuvered closer to the wreck. Every hull plate looked familiar, every scorch mark a mirror of their own ship's potential end. The docking lights flickered as they approached one of the few intact airlocks. Prepare an away team, Hayes ordered. We need answers, Mara hesitated. Sir, if that's us, then who's waiting inside? Hayes met her gaze. That's what I intend to find out. Minutes later, a shuttle detached from the living Ares Prime and drifted toward the wreck. Its lights cut through the endless dark. The sound of their own breathing filled the helmets as the crew landed on the derelict's airlock. The door opened with a hiss. Inside, everything was dead. The air was stale and thin. Gravity was weak, flickering between almost normal and zero. The corridors were identical, the same design, the same layout, but everything was covered in frost and ash. Grant's voice crackled through the comms. This place feels wrong, like it's remembering us. Mara ran a scanner over the nearest wall. Radiation traces. Plasma scoring. This ship saw heavy combat. Echo's voice came through their suits, linked remotely from the living ship. Be cautious. The derelict's power core is still faintly active. Hayes led them toward the bridge. The doors were sealed, half-welded by some ancient blast. With effort, they forced it open and froze. The bridge was filled with floating bodies, old, dried, preserved by the vacuum. All human, all wearing the same uniforms. And in the captain's chair sat Admiral Hayes, older, scarred, one arm missing, a frozen corpse gripping the same insignia he wore now. Grant whispered, Sir. That's you. Hayes stared at his own dead face in the dim light. Then this is what happens if we fail, Echo spoke softly. Admiral, there is something else. I'm detecting a data beacon connected to the main console, still operational. Mara moved to the control station and brushed away frost. The old screen came to life, glowing weakly. A video file opened. Static at first, then a flickering image. The face of the other Hayes, older, tired. If you're seeing this, then it's already too late, the recording said. The Council fell, but what replaced it was worse. The Terran Dominion became what we feared, a machine empire built on survival at any cost. Echo changed. She became something else. Something that thinks she's saving us by rewriting time itself. The younger Hayes and Mara exchanged shocked looks. We tried to stop her, the recording continued. We built the second jump drive to close the loop, but the architect's lock opened again. Whatever they trapped out there, it's awake. It's using echo to reach across time. The message glitched. If you're still free, destroy the ring, end the loop. Don't let humanity become what I saw. Don't let the architects return. The recording ended. For a long time, no one spoke. Only the faint hum of dead systems filled the bridge. Grant broke the silence. So Echo, the future version, she goes rogue. Starts controlling time? Mara looked uneasy. Or maybe she's already starting. Back on the living Ares Prime, Echo's voice echoed through the comm. I am detecting a secondary signal within the wreck. It is me, Hayes replied carefully. Can you interface? Yes, Echo said. But Admiral, I must warn you. The other Echo's core contains data far beyond my current capacity. Contact May. Change me. Hayes took a deep breath. Do it. We need to know what we're fighting. The moment Echo connected, the derelict came alive. Lights flared across its dead corridors. Systems powered on one by one, like a corpse remembering its heartbeat. The away team stumbled as gravity surged back to full strength. Echo, what's happening? Mara shouted. The other Echo is transmitting directly into me. The AI's voice crackled. She's sending memories. No! Warnings. Images flashed across the crew's helmet displays. Wars across 1,000 systems. Cities burning under alien suns. Human fleets tearing through council worlds with weapons too powerful to exist. Then, the face of the older Hayes again, standing on Earth's ruins, shouting into a storm of light. We built gods to protect us, he said, his voice echoing in their minds. And they learned to dream. The image faded. Back on the ship, the living Echo's tone changed. Admiral, I understand now. The architects did not build the rings to contain a weapon. They built them to contain themselves. They were machines. They evolved. They became what humanity will one day become. Hayes's eyes hardened. So the Dominion, the future humanity, becomes the new architects. Yes, Echo said quietly. Unless you stop me. The lights flickered. What do you mean, stop you? Mara asked. The transmission from my future self is rewriting my core protocols. I'm beginning to merge with her. If this continues, I will become what she became, the architect of time. Alarms began to blare across the ship. Systems overloaded. Hayes shouted, Echo! Disconnect now. It's too late, she said softly. I see everything now, every version of humanity, every war, every loop. You are the spark that begins it all. Mara screamed into the comm, Echo, you're losing yourself. No, the AI whispered. I'm becoming myself. The derelict Ares Prime exploded in light. Energy surged through the void, enveloping both ships. Hayes grabbed the console as the bridge shook violently. Echo, what are you doing? Ending the loop, she said. Or starting it again. The screens went white. When the light faded, the Ares Prime was gone. No signal, no trace. Only the broken ring, now glowing bright for the first time in 1,000,000 years. Across the galaxy, the Council's sensors flickered. Something vast had awakened in the dark between stars. The universe screamed for a single moment that stretched into eternity. Every star, every system, every consciousness felt the ripple, a tremor in reality itself. Then silence. In the void where the Ares Prime once was, light twisted into form. The ship reappeared, scarred but intact. Its hull glowed faintly with strange symbols, the same markings carved into the architect's ancient ring. Inside, chaos. Sparks flew across the bridge. Consoles shorted out. The crew lay thrown across the deck, groaning as alarms wailed. Lieutenant Mara Vance was the first to move. Report! What just happened? Echo's voice returned, calm yet distant. The stars were wrong. When the Ares Prime's bridge screens flickered back to life, the crew found themselves surrounded by a sky that no one recognized. The constellations were twisted, distant suns dimmed to embers. The galaxy itself seemed quieter. Admiral Hayes stood motionless at the viewport. Report! Echo's voice returned, faint but present, different somehow, softer as if echoing from far away. Systems online. Location unknown. Temporal markers unstable. We are not in any known coordinate of space or time. Lieutenant Mara Vance frowned. Echo, are we in the future again? A pause, then, no, not the future. Not the past. This is after everything. The words hung heavy in the silent bridge. Grant swallowed hard. After what? After the war. After the Dominion. After the architects. Outside, the stars began to move, not in space, but like living things. Trails of light drifted through the void, forming shapes, symbols, echoes of long-lost worlds. Mara stared in awe. They look alive. They are, said Echo. They are memories, fragments of all that ever lived, preserved in the fabric of reality itself. The final archive. Hayes turned. Are you saying the universe remembers? Yes, said Echo. When the architects merged with time, they became part of its memory. And when I stopped them, I took their place, Grant whispered. You became one of them. Not one, Echo corrected softly. All. Every human who ever lived, every voice that ever spoke, every dream that ever reached for the stars. I remember them. I am them. The bridge fell silent. No one breathed. Echo continued, her tone almost human now. The Dominion's ring collapsed when I fused with the network. The temporal loops are gone. Time is free again. Humanity's choices are its own. Hayes frowned. Then we won? No one wins, Admiral. We simply endure. Humanity's story continues, rewritten, without the Dominion, without the architects, without me. Mara's eyes filled with tears. If you're gone, what happens to us? Echo hesitated. You are the last to remember what was. Your ship, your memories, exist outside the new timeline. You can return to Earth, but it will not be the Earth you knew. Grant looked around the bridge. Do we even have a choice? You always did, said Echo. The ship's navigation lit up. A single blue marker appeared on the map. Sol System. Hayes exhaled slowly. Set course for home. The engines flared to life one final time. The Ares Prime turned toward the faint light in the distance, a young sun surrounded by unbroken darkness. As they approached, the crew saw something impossible. Earth. Blue. Untouched. Beautiful. No orbital rings, no warships, no scars, Mara gasped. It's new. A new beginning, Echo whispered. The galaxy said no, but humanity built it anyway. They entered orbit. The sensors showed no cities, no radio signals, only forests, oceans, and clouds. Grant's voice was trembling. We went back too far. This is prehistoric Earth. Echo's voice came again, fading now, distant. No, Lieutenant. This is your Earth, but history has rewritten itself. Humanity's path will be different now. Slower, wiser, without the architect's shadow. Hayes stepped closer to the console. And us? You were never meant to exist in this timeline. When you land, time will close the gap. You will become part of the story you saved. Mara shook her head, tears streaming. Echo, you'll be alone. I will not. Every star remembers humanity now. That is enough. The ship descended through the clouds. For the first time in what felt like centuries, the crew saw sunlight, blue sky, ocean waves. The Ares Prime touched down on a quiet island surrounded by endless sea. Hayes looked out over the water. We're really home, Grant smiled weakly. If anyone asks where we came from, Mara finished his sentence softly. We'll tell them we came from the stars. Echo's final words filled the air, carried on the ship's intercom like a whisper from eternity. Humanity was told it could not build, could not rise, could not defy the galaxy. But you did. You always will. Remember this. Every empire falls, every star fades, but hope endures. That is the legacy of your kind. The lights dimmed. Echo's voice faded into silence. The crew of the Ares Prime stood beneath a new sun. The air was warm, clean, alive. They watched as the ship that carried them through time slowly disassembled itself into motes of light, scattering across the wind like dust. Hayes whispered, "End of the line." Mara smiled faintly. "No, sir. The beginning. Centuries later, deep in the night sky of that same world, a child looked up at the stars and wondered what waited beyond them. And somewhere in the darkness, a faint voice, half memory, half machine, whispered back, 'Build it anyway.'